Okay, start from beginning.
Good morning to all. I am Nivedan, an undergraduate in Electronics and Communication Engineering at SSN College of Engineering. I am really excited to announce our resource person for today, since this discussion will be highly valuable to any aspiring engineer who wants to start their own business. He'll speak to us on the topic of how can I turn my research or an innovation into a startup. Just a quick introduction about our guest speaker today. He graduated from Tandai Periyar Government Institute of Technology with a degree in Electronics and Communication Engineering, and he co-founded Econ System with his two friends on the next year when he graduated from the college. The company was founded in 2003 without any significant funding or financial backing, but what he had was a dream and passion. His dream was to have Indian-made electronics which has to be exported around the world to make its mark in the global market. Econ Systems is now one of the top 3 manufacturers of cameras, which is of low cost and high quality. Without further ado, let us give our guest speaker, Mr. Maharajan Veerabaho, a virtual round of applause. And over to you, sir.
Thanks, Nivedan. Thanks for the introduction and very kind words about me and Econ Systems. So normally I like to come in person because seeing in person and talking to you in person makes a lot of difference than online. But due to a lot of time constraints, we couldn't schedule it very properly. So I thought I'll at least start with an online session, and maybe we can always meet. I'll definitely come over to your college, and we'll have a session in person as well. Right. So with that promise, I'm going to share my a screen. I'm going to run through a presentation. But before that, I may be asking you some questions just to keep it more interactive, right? And so feel free to type out your answers or raise your hands. And if you want to talk, raise your hands or type out your answers. Or if you want to show a thumbs up, if you want to react, if you want to laugh, if you want to do anything on the react button, go ahead and do it, right? I just want this to be more interactive as possible, right? So let me try and share my screen. Um, are you able to see my screen? Yes.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. I'm going to just play with the screen a bit because I'm going to be switching between the Teams and the actual screen itself. So let me just go to the right screen. Okay. Hope I'm visible again.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. So the first question, did you all have breakfast? Yes, no? One of the reasons I asked this is,
Yes, sir.
yeah, how many of you had pongal today? Maybe you can put a thumbs up if you had pongal. None of you? Okay. One of the reasons, another reason I asked this is, if you had pongal, then you should have a lot of guts to sit on this for 1 hour, right? one of the most sleep-inducing things in life is Pongal. Now in college, I used to say half of the arrears in our college was due to the mess opposite our college, which serves hot Pongal every morning. You heat that tummy full, and all your blood goes to digesting that, and then you have no energy to listen to the class. I hope it has happened to many of you in your college as well, right? So I will try and keep this as interesting as possible. But if you're feeling sleepy, you can ask me a question or take a sip of your coffee. Okay. So I'm not going to get into one of the things I want to promise today is I'm not going to use a lot of jargon. Okay. I'm not going to cloud you all with a lot of words, which is very tough to understand. Okay. I'm trying to keep it as simple as possible. So the simple KISS policy, keep it simple and stupid, right? Let us actually talk in plain English and see how we can take any idea uh, back into how do you build a company from just an idea, or if you have an idea, or if you're working on something, if you're working on a research, how to take that from scratch to build a company. So 1 hour session is obviously not enough, right, to cover everything. So I am going to cover one phase of it, the first phase of it, which I think is very important for all of you students, right? Nivedan actually gave an introduction about me. I'm one of the co-founders of Econ Systems. We started in 2003. And recently, as part of Econ Systems, we spun another startup, which is called Visai Labs, which was done like 4 years back. Visai Labs is again a fully owned subsidiary or a fully owned company of Econ, but it is another startup with very different product lines. I mean, you can go into the website and have a look at that. Okay. And like I promised initially, let's keep this as interactive as possible. I will try to end my session in say 30-40 minutes, and then we should be able to pick up some questions from you, because I think whatever I have in mind may not be what you have in mind, right? I'm thinking that this is what the students want, and I'm going to talk about it. But you may have different thoughts and you may have different questions. So please be ready and throw them off to me, and we can definitely answer them as well. Okay. In between, if there is a glitch, if you're not able to see, or if you have technical problems, type it out or voice it out so that I can stop and go slow. Okay. So before I start the whole presentation, I want to say a bit about what we do, so you understand what exactly Econ is about, or what I do, so that it gives you a perspective. So I'm sharing the small video. So what Econ does is, I don't know if the video is very clear in streaming. So basically, machines are getting a lot of sensors in them. Machines are becoming more and more autonomous today. And one of the key sensors is a vision sensor. So if you want to make a machine autonomous, you need a vision sensor through which a machine can perceive what is there in the outside world. So what Econ Systems, what our company does is basically we make these sensors, we make this hardware from scratch. We design, develop this hardware, and also the software on top of it. And these cameras go into multiple different applications. The first one you saw was an autonomous wheelchair, which is used in Japan airports in Japan. The second is that famous Boston Dynamics robo, which can walk on its own into a lot of different places. The third one is a locust robot. It's a warehouse robo. So if you purchase a parcel from Amazon, it goes through a warehouse like this. And this is an autonomous tractor. So now you have tractors which are autonomous, which does both the work of a tractor as well as for harvesting and things like that. It is autonomous. So there are multiple products like this in the market, multiple machines in the market, which have cameras inside them, which has the vision capability inside them. Many of these machines, we don't even know there is a camera sensor inside, and there is some kind of an algorithm or some kind of software which runs inside. And that's exactly what Econ does. We make these camera sensors. So one of the key challenges, I would say, for a company like Econ is that being a hardware company, in India and selling it across the globe. Like we have like 75% of the businesses in US and the rest is in Europe, Japan, and South Korea. So making a hardware here in Chennai, I mean, just right from the design, building it, manufacturing it, and shipping it across the globe, shipping it to countries like Japan and Switzerland, it has got to have a lot of quality, and that is one of the key challenges that Econ as a company faced, and which we have been very successful. And it just took 18 years. Like I always say, building a company and making it successful, ரஜினி படத்துல மட்டும்தான் 5 minutes நீங்க வந்து டமால்னு பெரிய ஆளாக முடியும். Because it takes a lot of time and energy if you're going to build a hardware company, and if you're going to be successful, and if you're going to put it in a lot of products, ship it to a lot of countries, it takes a lot of time and energy, right? So this is Econ. This is a company we have built over the past 18-19 years, and that's a small intro to tell you who we are. So how many of you want to be an entrepreneur? Anyone wants to be an entrepreneur? Obviously you're in this session, so okay, there's one. Any other one wants to? I'm just done. Okay, there are a few others. Wonderful. So next question, what is the most important thing you need to be an entrepreneur? What do you think is an important thing that you need to be an entrepreneur?
An unique idea.
A unique idea. Okay. Anything else? Wonderful. That's a very valid point. A unique idea is very important. Any other points that you have? What is the most important thing you need to be an entrepreneur?
Knowledge in that area, sir.
Knowledge in that area. Wonderful. Yeah. A unique idea is required. Knowledge in that area is of course required. Any other thing? The beauty about entrepreneurship. Yeah, go ahead.
Marketing strategies.
Marketing strategy. Yes, of course. If you need to sell, you need to market, you need to make your product reach the people. So obviously marketing is very important. The beauty of entrepreneurship is that it's not one thing, right? There are so many things, and there's no wrong answer, right? There's always something that you need. Any other one wants to try before I want to reveal what I think is most important? Okay. So the thing that I think is most important is a problem that exists in the market. So what is the job of an entrepreneur? What does an entrepreneur do? If you're all students and if you want to jump and start a company, why will you even do it, right? If you say money, you want to earn money, then I think your thought is a bit misplaced. There's a lot of easy ways to make money. Trust me, entrepreneurship is not easy, and that's not an easy way to make money. Like I always say, if you really want to make quick money, fast money, then join a good company, work for it, work hard, try to get some stock options there, then make money there, right? But entrepreneurship is a very different journey, right? So why do entrepreneurs start a company? Why are these companies existing around you? There is a problem that is in the market, that exists in the market, and a company is started, or a company exists because it can solve that problem in the market. Only those companies last long. Okay, a classic example is, we always had problem with auto charges here in Chennai, right? You cannot get an auto on time, and if you get an auto, he will fleece you. He's going to charge you more than what the meter says. So ஆட்டோக்காரன் பிரச்சனை டெய்லி பிரச்சனை சென்னையில, right? So when Uber comes in, Uber வந்து world over cars தான், cabs தான், but Uber starts auto here. Why? There is a problem in the market here. இந்த மார்க்கெட்ல அந்த பர்டிகுலர் ப்ராப்ளம் இருக்கு. ஸோ அந்த ப்ராப்ளமை சால்வ் பண்ணணும்னா the best way is to give Uber Auto, where you can book an auto over the app and then you can go. That business will exist as long as the problem exists in the market, right? Just like that, you will see a playground, there'll be a lot of boys playing, and suddenly a lot of ice cream push carts, right? தள்ளுவண்டியில் ஐஸ்கிரீம் வச்சு விற்பாங்க, அந்த இடத்துல ஒரு சர்பத் கடை இருக்கும். There are a lot of some shops sprouting here and there. Why are they coming? Because they sense there is a problem, which is the kids are going to get thirsty and they would want water, or they won't want something to quench their thirst. And to address that problem, they have a solution, and that's where they are, right? So one of the most important thing is we need a problem that exists in the market. Okay. So whenever you think of something, whenever you have an idea, whenever you think that you can do something, always connect it with a problem in the market. Can this solve something? So that is the starting note that I want to give. With a problem comes an opportunity. And if you have an idea that can make use of this opportunity, then you can sit down on a business plan. Okay. What is an idea? What is a business plan, right? Problem and opportunity is very easy to understand, right? Okay. Problem in kids are going to get thirsty. Opportunity is, okay, if I'm going to give them something, I can make some money here. So there's an opportunity. What is the idea a person can get? Okay, I'm going to sell them something, maybe an ice cream, right? A stick ice or something. Okay, that's an idea. Good. What is the business plan? Will it make financial sense? Where do I buy the ice from? Or if I'm going to make the ice, how do I make the ice? What is the cost of making that ice, right? Where will I get a push cart? If I'm going to invest, how much money do I need to put in upfront to buy a push cart? Sorry, if it is going to be 10,000 rupees to buy a push cart, maybe talk to a ice cream factory, which is a bit far away, then get them some stock from them, then put it in. So that's the business plan. How are you converting your idea into an actual venture? How are you going to make money out of it, right? And end of the day, how do you price it? So what margin if you keep, you will get something in your hands, right? So that becomes very important. So that's the business plan. And then the next becomes the team. So who all do you need help in? Okay, maybe you need someone who will buy the ice and put it in the cart and give you, or you may do it all by yourself. But in most of the ventures that we talk about, it's not as simple as selling ice, right? So if it is going to be a company, if you're going to make a product, you need a team. So how are you going to form the team? And then comes the execution part. Okay. And the execution part is the toughest. So where you go through the whole process of making the product, marketing the product, selling the product, making money, growing the company, and so on, right? What I have seen is, if there are 10,000 people who have ideas, so there are a lot of people who see problems. I would believe that if 1 lakh people see problem, 50% of them, like 50,000, see the opportunity, and 10,000 of them have ideas, right? 10,000 of them have ideas. Hardly 500 or less than 500, like 200 people come up, think about a business plan, and maybe 10 people get on and form a team, and hardly one gets on to execution. I mean, this is the actual fact. More often than not, when an idea comes, we do not put that into execution, and there are a lot of roadblocks between an idea and an execution, right? So whenever you think of something, if you think of an idea, go back and connect it with the problem. And if you think about starting a business, again, go back and think what problem you're solving it. So whichever phase you are in, right? If you are thinking about a startup, the first thing that should come to your mind is, what problem am I solving in the market with my startup, right? That should be the first point that you have to answer, because that is that problem is what is going to give you the money, the solution to the problem, rather. That is what is going to give you the money. All other things would just stay as ideas or business plans. Okay. So this is the flow, which is very simple. If you can digest it, this is the exact flow that any company, be it Google, be it Apple, be it any big company, Microsoft, they may be doing services, they may be doing products. Anyone, we are just following this pattern. Okay. How does innovation happen? Now, how does R&D happen? How do you do research? Anyone wants to answer that? How do you do research? What do you learn? How do you do research? It could be very simple research. I'm not looking at like path-breaking research. No, we are not here to find the Higgs boson. We are not going to find the next big thing in the world. But any technology, how do you get down and do some research? How do you normally do it? Any question? Any suggestions?
Hello.
Yeah.
Yeah. Basically, in academic, what we do is we start with some literature.
Mhm.
Through literature, we find some missing gaps and then address that missing gap in terms of hypothesis or else some kind of design to address those gap.
Perfect. Perfect. So that's how you normally do it in the academic side, right? That's how you normally take an academic research. So normally when you read a lot of papers, I've always understood that research involves a lot of study. Because you do a lot of study, you understand, and then you find some gap. You think there is some problem, that there is something that is missing, and then you go and analyze it further and do a research on that. Okay. Now, how does a startup? How do people make a new startup? How do people create companies? Right. I have seen two things happening when people create companies out of nowhere. And I will show you that with two examples, right? One is when innovation happens in technology, right? So somebody does a research in technology, just like how Professor said right now, people try to analyze a missing component somewhere or a missing part somewhere, and they do research on that, and they find out something, uh, which is like a eureka moment. Technically they find something which is great, right? Um, and that is probably an intellectual property. They have found something which is unique, and then what they do is they smartly connect it with the real world application. Okay, whatever they found out in with their research, they connect it with a real world problem or a real world application, and then that becomes a product or that becomes a company by itself. Okay, so in this case, it did not start with a real world problem. If you see, it starts with analyzing some technology, finding some answers to that, and then connecting it with a real world problem. Okay. There are other, Google is a classic example of this. I'll tell you how it happened in my next slide. The other type of businesses that I've seen is people start with a real world problem. They are seeing some problem day in and day out, and they want to solve the problem. So then they come up with a product idea, and then they analyze the technology on how to get that idea into action. So this is a reverse way of approaching uh, a company, right? You have a problem and I want to solve it. I have an idea, and then I go and analyze what technology I have to use to bring that idea into reality. This is an inverse case, and Uber is a great example of this. I'll tell you why. Let's see the Google story. So Google has its origin in background. It's basically a research project when Larry Page and Sergey Brin were PhD students in Stanford. So they were doing some research. So just like Professor said, they are in search of a theme on what to do research on. And while they were seeing multiple things, they thought that why not explore the mathematical properties of World Wide Web, right? How it is all linked, okay? How all the pages in the World Wide Web are linked, right? And so what they started was each page has thousands of links from other pages. So to give you a simple example, if my website is going to refer, or if SSN's website is going to refer Econ Systems website, then that is a link, right? And my website is going to refer into NVIDIA's website, and NVIDIA will get my link, and I will have SSN's link, and so on. So there is a big backlink, right? So as they start analyzing things, they started to understand that this backlink data that they gathered over the web page, if they are going to put into a measure of importance, they came up with an algorithm called as page rank. So if my if my page rank is very high, it means a lot of credible websites are referring to me, right? If econ systems is ranked high on the web, because a lot of credible websites in the sense, if Microsoft is talking about cameras and it is referring econ, or if there are other companies which are talking about camera sensors and if they are referring to econ, then I am ranked very high. So they came up with this algorithm, and then they realized this is the best way to give search results. Before Google, search was conducted by number of keywords in that page, right? So tomorrow, if somebody wants to become the number one in embedded camera, all they have to do is put up pages of millions of words like embedded camera, keep repeating embedded camera again and again and again. And tomorrow, if anyone searches in Google, their page will come forward. Before Google, this was the case, right? Which is very, very wrong, right? We have been in this business for 10 years and I have created a lot of, I am the authority in embedded camera, but someone can easily hijack that, very easily hijack that by putting some web pages just with the name embedded camera. The same thing, if someone starts saying SSN institution and starts building their own website with that word repeated again and again, then that would become the default search. So this problem was sorted out by Google with this algorithm, and they understood this was the best way to search. And the rest is history. You know, Google, how big it became. So this is a thing which started in a university, in a research. This research could have gone out as just a research paper. It could have never become Google, but it became, right? So it started as a technical analysis. It started as an R&D, but later on they found a problem to solve and they connected it. That's the Google story. The real reverse is the Uber story. The founders of Uber, they were standing in a winter night outside a conference hall in France, in Paris, and they did not get a cab. Okay, which you have faced, I have faced, all of us would have faced, even after Uber. That's a different story, right? So what if I can request a ride in from my phone? This is a problem that we have felt. I have traveled well before Uber to many of these countries, and I've been in a country where I did not know a language, and I used a small the feature phone, cell phone, which we used to have at that time, and I would call a cab company, and I would not even be able to talk, and I would not be able to tell where I am and guide him to my place and get a cab. So we have suffered a lot if I have to take a cab outside India, right? So the same thing has happened to those guys, and they wanted to solve it, and they said, why not put an app into your mobile phone and then bring the cab there? And that's how Uber was born. So here, the startup started with a problem in the field, in the problem in the market, and from there they went to the technology. So this is the reverse story. So any of these two things can happen for you as well. But what is the differentiator? Is it the idea or the technology? For Google, technology is the differentiator. For Uber, the idea is the differentiator, because anyone can bring that, anyone can make what Uber makes as far as technology is concerned. You can write that app, I can write that app. But what was important is who came up with that idea first and how well they executed that idea. I mean, an idea alone does not work as it is. Just like technology, it does not work in silos, right? So as they got the idea, they worked on it and made it big. So their differentiator was the idea and Google's was technology. So if you ask me what is good for you, I would say technology is a better differentiator for your first venture. So if you take Uber's founders, they had already started companies, they are already sold companies, they had a name for themselves, they had money to back it up. So taking just an idea into fruition, why is technology better and why is idea not that good? Anyone wants to answer that? Why am I saying that, hey, choose technology, why not idea? If you have an idea like Uber, which does not have a big technical backup on it, I would recommend not doing it as your first venture, being engineers. Why am I saying that? Guys, you need to answer. Come up with any answer.
Hello?
All answers are good.
Hello?
Yeah.
Yeah. First, idea one can product and it has some validity for some time. Sorry, and the technology. But whereas idea, I have idea in India, but similar idea or closer to that idea one can have in Israel and other region also. But
Exactly.
whereas technology means one can product nowadays at least 20 years.
Exactly. One of the key things that I see in an idea is cheap. Idea, anyone can have an idea. And a lot of people have ideas. I've heard at least 30, 40 people who have said Uber is my idea. You never acted on it, right? So I've heard a lot of my friends who say, I thought about Uber long back here, but I didn't act on it. I didn't create a company, right? So we can have ideas, but these are very simple ideas and a lot of other people can have it too. So it becomes very, very tough. Once you get into business, making it a success becomes very tough. You need a lot of money to plow in and make it happen. But if you have a technology, it's a moat. It's a big dip, okay, that you can create. And that technology can push you forward for a long time, right? So if you take our company, if you take Econ Systems, what is the dip that we have created? We have worked more than 15 years on embedded cameras. So you take it lens, ISP, you take the sensor, you take image processing. We have done it for more than 15 years. We have worked on more than 300 products. So that is the dip. The technology curve is the dip, right? Now, because I'm a seasoned entrepreneur, I have done this once, I have done this twice. Now I can make an idea work as well, right? Because I have all the other things in my kitty. Now I can go ahead and do something, just like how Uber did. But if you ask me, the first thing should have been, or best way to do that would be technology. So think about it. When you are thinking about an idea, think about the technology and how you're going to make it work. Okay, now we'll come to the important part. I'll assume you guys are working on a technology and what you should do to convert into a business. I'm just going to give you a few steps. Again, very layman, very simple steps. And I will tell you what you have to do. The first thing to ask yourself is, do you really have something? Most of us imagine once we think about technology, once we start working on some R&D, we think that this is going to break the world. This is going to be the next big thing. I am the Tesla of the world, right? It is good to have that confidence. It is good to have that optimism. And when you are in college, you have that optimism more and more. I've been there. I have done that too, right? So you have to really practically assess if you have something. So how do you do that? The first thing is whatever you're doing, make it work minimally at least. Assume that I'll take examples and explain you so that it is easy for you to catch up, right? Assume that you're doing a face recognition. You want to do face recognition, right? I want to do face recognition is what you're thinking. And maybe you did some research, you found some papers, and you thought, okay, there is a way that I can do it better. You took up face recognition and you start working on it. What I want to see is at least detect some faces, at least have some working code or some working thing which shows that you can make it work. That demo can be 50% working, that's fine, but you should have something working. So that's the first step. Okay, you have something working, then do you have a technology difference? What is the difference in your technology? So there are people who are very interested. I've seen a lot of people who say that I'm able to detect faces with face recognition algorithm. And what they do is they download a code from open source, they run it on a few faces, and then they say, okay, I'm done it. No, that's not the case, right? You can't do that. What is different in your technology? If I'm seeing your face recognition, what is different? Is it unique? One of the things we normally think is it always has to be unique. அது அவசியம் இல்லை. It need not be always unique. By unique, I mean this is the only such thing in the world. Nobody has done this in the world. No, it's not necessary. Like the example I've taken, face recognition is a done and dusted thing. A lot of companies are there which are making libraries, which are making these algorithms. Face recognition is very popular. Still, I'm saying you can do face recognition, right? That's not unique. But can your face recognition be faster? Can your face recognition be more accurate? Can your face recognition be tuned for South Indian faces? Can your face recognition be more cost effective? Can it be put inside a cell phone? Can it work in a watch? Go for it, right? So any difference that your technology can make, what is the difference is what you have to ask. Don't think about a thing that nobody has thought. இதை யாருமே யோசிக்காத ஒரு விஷயத்த நான் யோசிக்கணும் அப்படின்னு நீங்க யோசிச்சீங்கன்னா, you're never going to make anything happen. Because there is no such thing. Somebody has already thought what you're thinking, right? You can work in an algorithm. You can do research in your image processing. You can do your work in a particular area to make something better. And that better is your differentiation. So you need to be very clear on what your differentiation is. Fine. Then, do you have an IP? Okay, jargon, right? Intellectual property. அப்படின்னா என்ன? Forget about patents. Forget about all that. Simple words. Do you have something that you did on your own? Right? That's what I will ask. I am not saying you should take a face recognition. You should write the whole face recognition algorithm from scratch, right? First line of code, you have to write everything. I'm not saying that. You might have picked 3 or 4 different pieces from open source. That is perfectly fine. But what did you add to it? How did you combine everything, right? Whether you developed it from ground or whether you combined a lot of open sources, what is your secret sauce? What did you do to make it better? If you claim that you have made it faster, then what is your sauce that you added to make it faster? If you made it cheaper, what did you do to make it cheaper, right? So these are the things that you need to be asking. That is what I call as an IP. Forget whether you will get a patent for it. Okay, that is a whole new step, which is different. But the first step is, do you have something on your own? Now, if you have created something which you can at least show a half-baked demo, and it is different from what exists in the market by whatever, right? By speed, by whatever, by blah, blah. And I have done something on my own to make it happen, which means I have some IP on it. Then congratulations, you have something. If these questions are not answered, right, then you have to go back to your drawing board. You're not even in step 0 to create a company or to create a startup or to make your technology viable for something. Okay. So this is my simple 3-step test that you have to put for your idea to see whether you have something, right? And trust me, it is not wrong to fail in this 3 and throw away 20 or 30 of your ideas into the dustbin before you come up with something that works. Okay. But without this, it does not go to the next step. What is the next step? Okay, I have something in my hand. Now, is this sellable? Right? Anything. So when I'm saying, is this sellable? Normally people ask me when I say this, I mean, if you have an idea, then I ask him first to think about whether it is sellable. Otherwise, it's of no use. Then people are a bit disappointed. Young entrepreneurs ask me this question. Hey, Maha, then do you think that everything is about money? You had an idea and it's a great idea, it's a great technology. Then you're asking me, is it sellable? Then are you just, is it just about money? Is entrepreneurship just about money? Is this venture about just money? It is not. The reason why we ask sellable is we're asking whether you're creating value for others. If I'm having an idea, that could be the best technology that you have found out. That's a big R&D that you have done. Wonderful, kudos. But when will it get money? When will it be sellable? When it is adding value to others. Now, Google could have been a wonderful algorithm, page ranking algorithm. How did it make money? Because it was sellable. It added value to its users because they could search whatever in the web, right? So that part is very, very critical. Otherwise, there are millions and millions of theses and papers in the world. And you know that. There are a lot of papers in the world which have not become products, which have not made money, which are good because that thesis may trigger another thesis and that may trigger another study, and all this research may end up in what Google found out today, right? So if we are talking about PageRank, obviously all the papers that Sergey Brin and Page read are contributing, I would say, right? But that all those papers did not become products. Okay. So what you need to think is, when I'm talking about sellable, we have to see if there is value in the market. People pay money not because they want to, right? People don't just throw away money. They would pay only if you add value to them. So that is the next step we are going to answer. And so here comes point that I would bring it again. Is there a problem in the market that can be solved with this? So let us take the same face recognition algorithm, right? Is there a problem that is in the market that I can solve? Yeah, there are a lot of problems in the market that I can solve. What problem am I going to solve? With face recognition, there are multiple problems. I would give you an example. One example could be law enforcement, right? There are a lot of thieves, small time thieves, whose face are all registered. And every Diwali or every festival, all these thieves are out there in Tinagar and a lot of other places doing all the pickpocket, right? Why not attach cameras, find them, and you easily find them, and then you can arrest them, or you can at least am I audible? I think I just lost you for a minute. Hello.
Yes, sir, you are audible.
Awesome, great. So that is a use case for law enforcement. Fine. Then there is a use case for your college, right? Time and attendance. Every time you walk in, your face is automatically detected and time and attendance happens, right? So there are multiple such use cases, multiple problems in the world that can be solved with face recognition. But which problem are you going to take, right? So that is something you need to think about. And how well are you solving that problem? Today, there could be something in the market that is solving. How well you're going to solve that in the market, right? That is something you should be thinking. And do you have a solution with your IP for this? Okay. Now, what do I mean by this? Do you have a solution? You might have the face recognition algorithm, but that is one building block in your solution. So if you decide that you're going to help the law enforcement, police, to identify theft, thieves, and others, right? Then you should need a camera. You need a camera, right? You need a camera. You need to make it into a product, and you should come up with some viable thing that they can put in Tinagar and do this policing, right? Okay. So you need to your IP is one part of it. You need not create every piece of that solution all by yourself. Okay. So if you say Krishna Sweets or makes the best Mysore Pak, right? The recipe is theirs. The flour and ghee and all the other things they buy from outside. That is all commodity, and they make the recipe and they make the best Mysore Pak available in Tamil Nadu or in India, right? Likewise, your secret sauce or your IP is in the face recognition algorithm. You buy the cameras from outside, you put them into a package, you have a solution. So do you have a solution with your IP for this problem? That is the next step. And can you make a product with this solution? Okay. In my example, you can definitely make a product. Okay. In some examples, you may not be able to make a product. For example, I'm saying this face recognition algorithm is integrated into your car. Okay. And each time you sit on the steering, there is a camera on the steering which sees you and says, okay, Maha is inside, then I switch on the car. Otherwise, it will not. Okay. Or if you are deciding on such a problem and you're solving it, you don't really have a product because you don't make the car by yourself, right? What you have to do is you have to start selling this face recognition algorithm to some car company, and then you'll have to walk off, or you have to license this face recognition as an algorithm to these car companies. So how are you going to make this product out of this solution? That should run in your mind. Where do you stop? Do you make the camera yourself, or do you just sell the algorithm? What is your product? Okay, so that is something you need to think. You can even go to the extent of catching the thief and giving to the police as a service, right? That is how SaaS companies do. If a SaaS company thinks about this, how will they operate? They will say, I will install cameras all over. I will have the thief. I will nab the thief and I will give it to you. And for every thief I capture, you pay me this much, right? So that's how service, right? Software as a service or catching robber as a service can also be done, right? So what is your product? Is the service your product? Is the camera your product, or the algorithm your product? You need to think about that. Okay. And then last but not the least, will your product make economic sense? Again, no jargon, simple words. Can you make profit out of this, right? 10 ரூபாய்க்கு ஐஸ் பண்ணி 15 ரூபாய்க்கு விற்க முடியுமா? That's what we talked about earlier, right? The same thing here. How much will you invest, or how much is it actually required to make this product and then sell it in the market. That is the economics behind it. Now, coming back to our original point, let's go to the first half. I have created something which I can at least show a half-baked demo. Wonderful. It is different from what exists in the market by so-and-so. Good. And I've done something on my own to make it happen. And that's when I said you have something. Beautiful. What next? That something can solve a problem in the market. Okay. And I can make a commercially viable product out of it. Beautiful. That is when I would say, congratulations, you have something that you can sell. Okay. This is a point. This is the point where you can start thinking about whether you can make a startup or not. Okay. For the second half of this problem, I would say the first half of the problem, you can close your room, sit inside, discuss with a few people, right? Some technical mentors, your professors, people from outside, people from the industry, and you can make your demo, you can find your differentiation, and you can find your IP. All that can happen. For the second part, finding a problem in the market and solving it, whether it is commercially viable or not. So for the second phase, normally I would say you need a mentor. You need a mentor. Either you have to be part of a incubation center like what SSN has, which promotes startups from within the college, or outside market, you have a lot of mentors, a lot of entrepreneurs who are willing to mentor young entrepreneurs. Discuss with them. More number of people you talk, you will really understand whether it's a problem that people will pay for, whether it is commercially viable. Now you make a business plan, you put on the numbers on a paper and take it to them and say they will find the holes in that and they will help you, right? That's when you need to start talking to people. So when you have something, till you have something, you can sit down, put your head into it and work. After you have something, you should talk to a lot of people to see if you can actually sell this out in the market. So that is the second part. And with that, you're ready to make a startup. Okay. So when you are working with any technology, and trust me, when I'm saying you need to do research, it need not be only IEEE papers. It need not be just your academic research. You can actually take up an open source and do a research as well. You can take up anything that interests you, any gaps that you find that are interesting for you. You can take it up and do your research. And once you start doing that research, you will have a lot of questions. You will start making something on your own. And that's when you will realize, okay, now I made something on my own. Now, how do I go to the next step? So always think about, do I have something with me? Answer this question. And that would be the most important thing. How to create a company from here, that's a whole different session. So I would actually reserve it for another session when you guys are done this half, when you guys have something in your hand, which you feel you can sell out to the world. Creating a company is a step of process. There are a lot of steps which are involved, which I can discuss in detail, but that we'll reserve for another session. Okay. But one step I would say about once you're in this stage, the next step would be, I'll just give you a teaser, is making a minimum viable product. What is a minimum viable product? Like I said, if you are thinking of putting a camera which are going to find robbers in the market, you need to at least buy a camera in the market, put your algorithm inside, and you should be installing it in at least a couple of streets to see whether it works or not. That is a minimum viable product. That would be the first step after this journey of finding something that can sell in the market. Okay. So I think I would stop with this, and I'm open for questions. If you have questions, I would like to answer them. Any questions? I always say there are no right and wrong questions. There are no dumb questions. It's a question. That's it.
Thank you very much, Mr. Maharajan, for your talk. Since this is an academic institution, are you able to hear me?
Yeah, very much.
Basically, the student, maybe the student from different backgrounds, the mindset nowadays in academics and the student mindset is most of them prefer for higher education. If I don't get good higher education institution, I may get in campus placement. because we saw the trend in any leading institution like SSN, PSG, or Tyagaraja.
Mhm.
But if you see the most of entrepreneur, even if you take Google or Facebook, they're not at all highly graduated. In the sense, they do graduation or they do uh, the required things to do their things, and then they end up in solving the problems, as you said, problem solving. Once
Sure.
the problem is able to solve or they're not able to solve, then they hire these highly technical people like PhDs, whatever qualification they have. But how entrepreneur they differentiate themselves or differentiate in kind of, I would say, psychology or the kind of attitude or personality, where they differ, because in our culture in the sense South India, we give a lot of preference for study, go study, go study. Nowadays the trend is at least you should have 2 degrees.
Yeah.
The common trend in South Indian female and male candidate, they have a trend of at least 2 degree. I don't understand. Most of the entrepreneur, even Shivanadar or any, you take like you are a great example of being an entrepreneur. They never focused on studies. They focused on work and study for that work and solve the problem. So I would like to
Exactly.
address this mindset so that the young brain have a confidence on them to go for something instead of go for degrees.
No, the first and foremost thing I would say is that there is a herd mentality that we normally have. I would not blame it on anyone, but normally we as a human race itself, we like to stick on with each other. We like to do what others are doing, right? We see what is the safest option. We like to always have a backup, right? And what happened is people with single degree did not get many people. There were a lot of people with a bachelor degree, and they were not getting many job opportunities. Then what happens is they say people you'll have to do another degree. And likewise, if you want to go to US, then MS is the easiest way to do that. Go ahead, and if you want to settle down in the US, go and do an MS there and settle down there, right? So normally these are all easy paths which people take, but it is not a path that would give you fulfillment. One of the things that I've seen with a lot of people is after 10-15 years of corporate life, or they've been in some position, then they come back and say, hey, what the heck, what have I done, right? I've earned money, I've done this, but why am I running all the time? I'm not happy. I'm not happy doing what I'm doing, right? That becomes a late realization. That becomes a late realization for many of them. What I see today is more than any time in the history of this country, 20 years back when I tried to start up, I mean, obviously the great Shivnadar, I mean, when he started, it would have been even more difficult. But when I started even 20 years back, we were not backed up easily. There were no investors. There was no investment talk. There was no startups. There was no SaaS. Nothing was there, right? It was very tough. But now it is the ideal time because entrepreneurs are respected outside. There is a big investment community which is ready to invest in great ideas, which wherever they see value, people are ready to invest. There's a lot of support system. When I say support system, even in Tamil Nadu, I would say there are at least hundreds of entrepreneurs who have done it, who are here still in Tamil Nadu, can guide, who can talk, who can help. So there's a big support system which revolves around. And with this ideal conditions, students have to start thinking about what they want rather than just following what others are doing and just going with the flow, right? There's always a race. There's always a race. How do I get into FANG? How do I get into the Facebooks and the Alphabets and the Netflix and whatnot, right? And how do I just go and make money in the US? How do I just settle down there? My thought process here is if you want to do something, first think about what you want in life and spend some time on it. Take some time on it because I think this generation has a lot of time. You have a lot of time to decide what you want to do and jump into it. And that is very important. If you're in a college, these degrees are not going to help. Trust me, these degrees are important, but they are not just going to give you whatever you want. It is. Am I audible? I think there is a
Yes, you are audible.
Hello.
Yes.
Okay, I think yeah, that was okay. So these degrees are important. I'm not saying don't go and don't do away with the degrees, but degrees are important. But they are not just going to give you everything. If you take 30, 40 years back, all the information was there only in the libraries of IITs. Now is that the case? Now you have IEEE website is open. You can go and get access to it. Do you think 30 years back that was possible? It was available only with premier institutions. Only big libraries had that. None of the others had access. Today, the world is quite open. The only thing that kids today have to think about is what do I want to do in life? And above everything, even if you are a failed entrepreneur, you learn so much that you can get into a corporate job or any other job with ease. So forget about the backup. Normally, forget about the backup and focus on what you want. So that would be my suggestion.
So any other questions from Nivedan? Anybody?
Oh, yes, sir. So my question is, it's been 20 years since you have started Econ Systems, and you might have faced many ups and downs in your career of these 20 years. So my question is, how do you deal with like situations like this, and how do you come up with that? Can you please, like, so
See, ups and downs are normal for any person, right? Even if you're employed, you're going to have ups and downs. People are scared of layoffs. So personally and professionally, you are going to have ups and downs. The only added responsibility that we have as entrepreneurs is that there is a big bunch of people who are dependent on us. So for me, the most important thing that always comes to my mind is today we have more than 550 employees, direct employees, and there are a lot of others who are indirectly benefited because we are running this company, right? So our major thought process is that this 550 employees and their families and everything, and that should be always on the safe spot, right? So one of the key things, an entrepreneur always takes risks. We take a number of risks, but financially, we have run our company very conservatively. When I say conservatively, I make sure that we have enough finance to fund all these people, to make sure the boat is safe, and only then we invest the rest and we plow it back in and make more money, right? Only because of that cautiousness, even when COVID struck, that we couldn't manufacture, the lockdown was there, the factories could not be opened. We had so many situations, but we were continuing to pay all the salaries for our employees continuously. We were able to take care of their health care. All of that was in place for that 1 year. So for me, for any entrepreneur, what I would say is there are some spots where you need to be careful. You need to make sure that your ship is safe, right? And for that, money is very important. So you have to be very, very, very prudent, very, very prudent when it comes to handling finance. All the other rest of it will come and it will go. You are going to face a loss. You are going to lose a customer. You are going to go and have all those downs. And at the same time, you will get two new customers. You will make a lot of project wins, and that ups and downs will always keep happening. So you need to be a bit conservative, right? It's not about, I always keep saying this, entrepreneurship is not about flying high. It's not about having big BMW cars. It's not about having that big lifestyle, right? It's about making sure your company is alive and it is kicking and it can thrive, right? So you have to run it how you like run your family, right? You always have savings. You always have protection. You just don't jump. You don't spend everything, right? And you don't just get loan over loan over loan. You don't do that. Do the same thing with the company. Don't do that. If you do that, I trust me. It's not one night that I've lost sleep in this last 18 years because I know that I'm doing my best. I'm trying to keep my company afloat, and I'm doing to the best of my ability to put everything in order, right? And then just be normal. That's it. That's how we deal with it. And I think that's the easiest way to deal with it too.
Mr. Magarajan.
Yes.
Now the TI, they have a academic model in the sense they set up small labs, they provide some hardwares and use the hardware, and then people learn. Basically, the UG level student learn something and then go for something like that for their internship or something like that. Is there anything such kind of academic ecom and academic relationship where SSN or any other academic institution or tier 3 institution from Tamil Nadu can have a tie up in the sense work along together to prepare the brains for the internship activity in econ systems?
No, I'll be very, very, very interested, sir. One of the things that I've always wanted to do is this. Unfortunately, we have not done it to a great level, mainly because we were stressed for time. Honestly, we couldn't spend that much time earlier on. But now the time is ripe. We have enough people to get whatever we want done as far as this academic collaboration is done. What I will do is I really want to come and visit SSN. I would come in person once. I'll also bring in our head of HR and a few others as well to come, and we can discuss this in person. And I would be very interested to set up a lab where I would actually, we can put together all the hardware, our products, as well as development boards and whatnot. And we can also provide training and other support because it's in Chennai. It becomes very easy for us because our core engineers, all of us are in Chennai. So we can definitely work out on an idea like that.
Yeah, for that, are you choosing institution based on ranking provided by the union government or just like brand, something like that? Because
I'll be honest. I'll be honest with you when I say this. We have good regards for SSN. Okay.
oh, okay,
We know about this college. We've also visited it for campus sometime back, a few years back, I guess. So we have a lot of respect for the institution, and that is one of the reasons why I readily said we'll go ahead and partner this. So basically, it's we know them, right? We know these institutions are good. We have seen students, so it's based on that. It's nothing related to ranking, basically.
Okay, thank you very much for your kind words about SSN and its departmental things. So, guys, audience, is any other questions? Shall we conclude? Nivedan?
No, sir. No, sir. And thank you so much, sir, for sharing your insights and practical examples on how to launch a business. And really, your tips on how to convert an idea into startup was very useful. I sincerely hope that many aspiring entrepreneurs here will now have a better understanding of how to launch a business. I want to thank you again for sharing your valuable time with us. Thank you.
Okay, thank you
Wonderful.
all for attending this event, and personally thank Mr. Magarajan with his valuable time and effort. I wish he should come back and visit our departmental activity so that faculty also will have a role to play in this activity. Thank you very much. Have a nice day. Bye.
Thank you, sir. We'll see you soon. Thanks a lot. Wish you all a wonderful day. Bye-bye.